And you start dating these men who are super good looking, high status, but realize they're just using you for sex and don't have any intention of being in a long-term relationship with you because of what you did previously. I was curious about this whole concept, which is the idea of what Lana Rhoades, Mia Khalifa, Riley Reid said after they left the industry. For what is it that you think when they left, what is the narrative that you believe is actually going on there?
Like Mia Khalifa is an interesting one because Mia Khalifa constantly, I think honestly Mia Khalifa is one of the best marketers on the planet.
Yes.
Because Mia Khalifa, what she does every couple of years, she'll go out on Twitter or something and be like, oh, the industry exploited me, it was a terrible experience, woe is me. And then she'll get absolutely every single current performing female in the industry retweeting her, boosting her signal.
Yeah.
And she just does this on repeat every 2 years. And so I think Mia Khalifa is actually a lot smarter than people give her credit for. If she genuinely had a problem with the adult industry, she wouldn't have an OnlyFans and she wouldn't keep using her stage name.
Yeah.
Now, with the other two girls, they get to this point where what you might call the epiphany phase. They're cranking out some kids, and they're starting to realize, oh, well, this is probably going to have a negative impact on my kid when they eventually get into high school or whatever.
And I don't want to pay for this, and therefore I'm going to complain about the world that I live in.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit there and pretend like this wasn't a decision of my own making. In some way, shape, or form, this was bad for me. But your entire net worth is based around the fact that you did this. This idea of personal responsibility, it just seems to be missing a lot these days. I see people complain. I see a lot of people sort of trying to just get rid of this idea that they had any control over their life.
Yeah,
and I can't accept that narrative.
So let's get into this specifically with Mia Khalifa. She implies that she was pimped out by her boyfriend, and that she vaguely remembers any of the experience what she was doing during the time because she was drugged up the whole time. If that truly was her experience, I feel bad for her. I totally understand why that would be an issue, and I get that. And by the way, I'm not negating that their experience is not their own. I'm sure that their experience, if Lana Rhoades truly believes that she was taken advantage of, she has the right to have that belief. However, the problem is, what I'm curious is, from your standpoint, do you find the Hugh Hefner documentary comes out? Tons of playmates come out and say, like, this was not my experience. I enjoyed being with Hugh Hefner. Yeah. The vast majority have said that, okay? Still controversial. Have you found, after Lana Rhoades and Mia Khalifa and Riley Reid have said what they've said, have you found that the majority of adult actresses are agreeing with them?
No.
Yeah, they're not.
No, absolutely not. Especially if they're currently working.
I just spoke to Bridget B 72 hours ago, and she said the same thing. She said, absolutely, I don't agree with what she was saying.
Bridget B is amazing. I love Bridget, by the way. But all the girls who are currently working, basically, they enjoy the industry. They keep shooting. That's what they do. That's why they do it. Like, no one is human trafficking. Like, this idea of trafficking very often gets conflated with the professional adult industry.
Oh, we're going to get into that in a second.
And they're so separate. Like, people get into adult of their own free will, and they do it on purpose. And I know, like, all the agents in LA, these guys aren't out there recruiting. Their emails are full of young women hitting them up every day, trying to break into the industry.
So the model has changed now, whereas before you were getting paid. Remember, I go back to when I was talking about Chasey Lane and Jenna Jameson. These girls were signing multi-million-dollar contracts with individual studios. Yep. That doesn't happen as much anymore. There's probably very few girls that do that now. What has happened is now studio porn is now a lead gen for fans. Right? Even for Karen Lee, it's a lead gen so that they can get back to their own porn, where they're now making 80% of the profit, whereas they're making very little. We had Amanda Nicole on here. She's got like 10 million followers on Instagram. She only films with her boyfriend. And then what happened was she did one scene as lead generation to go back to her fans. That's how the model has changed, and that's why there's so many girls that are trying to jump in it from that standpoint now.
Yeah, and I've talked to like some new girls in the industry when I was actively shooting a lot more. I would tell them that exact same thing. I'd be like, okay, look, you have a choice here. It's like you can shoot professional photography consistently and kind of, I want to say, like, make yourself a little bit less scarce, right? Or you could do like one or two scenes for like one scene for or something, or maybe one for Evil Angel.
Yeah.
Really blow up your signal and then shoot for them never again. And all of that audience has to come to your fans for the rest of eternity. I got into this really interesting period just before OnlyFans.
Right.
But also after Pornhub.
Yeah.
That was like the dry period.
Meaning when there was so much free pornography out there that the margins were being dried up, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So prior to Pornhub, like the actors and actresses were getting paid like at least 4x what they were during like the 2015 onwards, right? And now, okay, they're still getting paid the same for like a day shoot with Brazzers or something. But now they also have OnlyFans stuff on the back end. So they can make their own cut infinitely more than they ever used to be able to, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's insane. Like the amount of money that the individual adult pornographer can make off their own personal brand now is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the other thing, going back to what we were saying before, the situation with Lana Rhoades and Mia Khalifa and Riley Reid, one of the things that I found difficult was, and this is what I generally have a problem with. It's if their situation or if their experience was negative, I get that. It's when people start speaking for other people's experience. And what I mean by that is when Mia Khalifa comes out and says that any man who wants to date a younger woman is somehow lacking. And I'm like, yeah, he's lacking a younger woman, bro. Like, that's what he's lacking. Because here's the problem. We talk about this in finance. I originally come from finance. We talk about talking your book. Elon Musk is a great example of talking your book. Elon Musk will say something positive about Twitter or say something positive about Tesla, but that's because he owns Tesla. Tesla's in his book. It's in his portfolio.
Right.
With Mia Khalifa, when she says men don't like these older women, they like younger women and therefore they're insecure, what is she doing? She's talking her book. She's not who she was when she did the initial pornography. She's older now. And so maybe the cognitive bias hasn't reached her. Maybe she legitimately doesn't even understand that this is where some of this comes from. The problem is I'm not going out searching for younger women. They're just attracted to me because I'm an established 45-year-old former U.S. military officer. Mm-hmm. They would rather be with me because of the security that it gleans them. It is not a function of me I don't have to go out and look for that. For her to then intimate that I'm lacking something, it's so insulting. She doesn't know me or my life. Conversely, I'm supposed to believe her experience is valid, but mine isn't. Yeah. You see what my point? This is the issue that I'm having. It's like always people talk about free speech, let's all be friends, peace, love, and joy, positive energy, until you don't agree with them. Until you don't agree with them. Then there's a fucking problem with what they're saying. The same situation with Lana Rhoades saying that pornography should be banned, like should just be completely made illegal.
I've seen that Mia Khalifa tweet where she was, trying to shame older dudes, and it's like, You can't shame away biology.
Yes.
And honey, there's a reason you were booked when you were young. Like, you're an 18 to 22-year-old chick. Like, that got you your first gigs. And that's the same for every girl who gets in the industry at a young age. It's like, we're biologically programmed to want a fertile woman. Simple as that.
Here's what I think's happening. They got through doing it, and they're like, gosh, I did this, and now I'm casting this part of my life aside. And as they go through life, they keep meeting men who are not trying to date this pretty girl. Lana Rhoades is still a very beautiful woman. They're not. I happen to know one of Lana's exes, very popular, very prominent relationship that she was in, and I personally believe he was dating Lana Rhoades, star, and she was trying to have a long-term relationship with a guy who, to be fair, it was a clout jacking for both sides.
Makes sense.
Logan Paul's co-host. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it was just one of the, you see what I'm saying? Like, it was one of these things like, this was so bad, and then she continues to clout jack. And I'm like, I don't understand how you expect. And then the NFT thing, god damn, bro. She sits there, creates an NFT, and then when people are mean to her, she decides to take the money and run. So now there's no integrity dealing with her financially, but yet I'm supposed to believe her experience when it comes to how she experienced porn. And it leads me to believe, and I don't know this to be true, but it would lend someone to believe maybe she did enjoy doing porn while she was doing it. And now that she has to reap the repercussions of what she did, now she is retroactively going back and crying foul. And every time she does it, she gets to put this blanket of victimhood around her, which gives her more power. It gives her more armor in order to say what she wants to say. And it becomes more and more problematic when she says these kind of things. Because again, I don't want to disrespect if she legitimately feels like she was extorted, that's her opinion to believe that. My point is, it definitely feels like now, because you're older and you go to the PTA meetings and all the other ladies are staring at you, right? And you start dating these men who are super good looking, high status, but realize they're just using you for sex and don't have any intention of being in a long-term relationship with you because of what you did previously. Now you're like, I'm having to pay consequences for something that I don't feel is my fault when it might actually be your fault. That's what it feels like to me.
They'll always have this horde of like white knight fans on their Twitter accounts, for example, like especially Twitter, where their whole career, anything they can do no wrong. Like any opinion they've ever put out, anything they've ever said publicly on Twitter, they've always had this massive throng of dudes who, oh yes, my queen, yes, dear, like completely agreeing with everything they said. So there's just no consequence for having a delusional opinion.
Yeah.
Their entire life. And so even though they get, they might get a bit older, their opinion changes, they'll shame guys for wanting to date younger women, and they'll still have this throng of...
Or shame guys for watching porn.
Yeah.
What the That's what I'm talking about.
All these dudes will just agree with her.
Yes.
By default.
But when reality hits and she actually has to find a man to settle down or an NFT to actually create value, then all of a sudden, wham! Then reality hits. Then it doesn't end up being the same way.
And I think that's kind of like the curse that a lot of girls in the adult industry have.
Yeah.
Is that they don't have to face reality, like the harsh reality of the world, until they leave the industry.
Yes.
Especially if they get in at like 18 or like 20, something like that. Think of like the narcissism that I'm not trying to get on girls in the industry, but just think of the narcissism that would breed in a young woman if every single man you interact with on a daily basis, right? All your fans on social media, every dude you meet on set, like the director, the co-star, the makeup lady, the lighting guy, everybody is kissing your ass and trying not to upset you, right? Especially on set, because as the co-star, right? If I piss her off, bam, that no one's getting paid today.
For sure.
Right? So I can't piss her off. I'm walking on like eggshells. The director's doing the same. The lighting guy's doing the same. The audio guy's doing the same. And even if she is a raging pain in the ass on set, being super disrespectful, rocking up late, not knowing her lines, being unprofessional, we're all still walking on eggshells, treating her like a princess, because we all know that our paycheck is dependent upon that girl walking onto the couch.
A couple weeks ago, we had Carlotta Champagne on here. She just does nude modeling. She's a figure model. She was in Playboy for a while, and she had a girl come up to her and say, "Hey, I was thinking about doing fans for extra money." And Carlotta said to her, "No, when you do this, you need to be all in, because this is going to change your life and it's going to affect you forever."
Yep.
Please understand, you and I both have female friends that are adult film actresses. No shame. I will go to their wedding. I hope to be at their baby shower. I think they're wonderful people. My whole thing is, I would have had so much respect. One of the things really cool about Mia Khalifa is that, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a Nobel Prize winning female chemist from Lebanon, and she was retweeting Mia Khalifa. And she got hounded for that. Mia Khalifa can't go back to Lebanon because she's getting threats from the government, whatever. And I don't agree with that. But the idea was, I thought that was so cool. Why don't you just own the fact that you did porn and now you've made different decisions in your life? I would have so much respect for that. Yeah. Instead of going back and retroactively saying that all of this was bad, but not just bad for you, it's bad for everyone. And that it's denigrating society. That's the problem that I have with this. Is like, there was so much that she could have done in that instance. Again, I'm not saying that her beliefs aren't valid. It's just like, when I remember she did, it was a Call Her Daddy interview one time. And I'm listening to the two of them talk, and this thing was like the #1 they were beating Joe Rogan that week. I remember it was a huge interview. And I just remember thinking, like, you're literally doing this episode, like leading everyone on podcasts as far as downloads is concerned, because of what you did, and then complaining about that thing you did. The point is, there's consequences for your actions. If I took steroids my whole life and later on when my kidneys fail, I'm not going to blame the pharmaceutical company or the Mexican doctor that I bought the steroids from. Yeah. I have to take responsibility for my actions.
I mean, do you think like Ronnie Coleman regrets doing
He does not. Dude, have you heard the interview? Ronnie Coleman says he squatted 850 one time, and his only regret in life is that he didn't do it 3 times.
Yeah.
And it destroyed his back. Ronnie Coleman can't walk anymore. Yep. Yeah, and I've listened to Earl Campbell, one of the greatest running backs of all time. He's in a wheelchair now. He played at UT Austin, won the Heisman Trophy, and then he played for the Oilers, and he was a monster. The guy was an incredible running back. He can't walk anymore. He doesn't regret it. He understands the consequences for what he did, and that's the problem. It's like what's happened is, when they don't take responsibility for what they did, that's the actual message, Sterling. The message is not get rid of porn. Guess what, guys? Not getting rid of porn. You heard it here first. It's not going away. The actual message is, don't take responsibility for your actions, become a victim, and yell loud enough to where you don't have to pay for what you did.
That's what I can't stand, that level of hypocrisy, and that anyone who tries to paint themselves as a victim, because we're in this inverted society now where down is up and up is down, and like if you're a big enough victim, you're celebrated. Whereas we used to celebrate the person who came from nothing and made something of themselves. Now we try and celebrate the person who's just, you have enough virtue signaling points to stand out above everyone else as a bigger victim.
My issue is, afterwards, the complaints I hear from Lana Rhoades is that she doesn't make enough money off the porn she made, which means what? There's an amount of money that she could have been paid to where then this would have all been okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand that a crime was committed. You just didn't get compensated enough. So now you have an OnlyFans additionally. That's the part I'm trying to say. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If she, again, I'm gonna say this for the 5th time. If she legitimately feels like she was taken advantage of, that's her experience, and I'm not trying to denigrate that experience. But my point is, now after the fact, then get away from it. But she's not even trying. She's leaning heavy into this, calling herself Lana Rhoades on a podcast. That's the issue that I have.